the next thing we'd like to do is to announce today's winner of the $1 million prize. So it's Christine Fischel. Would you like to come up? Oh, up there? Okay. So, as you may know, every day from now until the election, we're giving out a $1 million prize. That is, and all you have to do is sign a petition in support of the Constitution. It's very straightforward. You don't even have to vote. You don't have to vote. You just have to sign a petition saying you believe in the Constitution. Which, if you already believe in the Constitution, you're just signing something you already believe, and you can win $1 million. That's awesome. I guess this seat was kind of far away from the stage. So, you're most welcome. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Is there anything you want to say?
Well, thank you so much for, I truly believe everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Truly, you don't need to be doing it. I know a lot of us feel the same way. Your wealth and responsibility you are using to save speech, and we just all appreciate it. We really do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So, let's see. Good times. I always get fired up with the incredible energy from you, and yeah, yeah. I mean, this kind of energy lights a fire in my soul. Honestly, it's just great. It's like really fantastic. So, let's see. Yeah. Some of the things I'll say I've said before because it's important to say them a few times, just to make sure people get the message, and for people out there that maybe are seeing one of these talks for the first time and maybe didn't see the other talks. So forgive me if some of the things I say are repetitive, but some for people out there, a lot of them haven't heard these things at all. Most important is that the registration deadline in Pennsylvania ends at midnight tomorrow. So after that point, people cannot register to vote. So more than anything, it's register, register, register. Only have until midnight tomorrow. That's so definitely hound friends, family, acquaintances, people on the street, everyone you meet, to say. Just to register. We've got to register. Wow, 90. Amazing. Congratulations. That's great. I hope I live to 90. Based on some of the damn hate I'm getting, I might not. Well, it's all fun and games until someone loses an eye or an ear, or so I guess then it's just all fun and games with one eye and one ear. Fine, whatever. But hopefully I don't get shot. Um, it's no, but it's like a real it's crazy out there, you know. Uh, yeah. Well, anyway, there was I was just on the cover of some big, like I think it's the biggest magazine in Germany called Der Spiegel, which is like their Time magazine or something, saying that I'm enemy number two. You know, yeah. And I'm like, enemy number two of what? Democracy? I mean, I'm pro-democracy. All I'm literally trying to do is uphold the Constitution and ensure we have a free and fair election. Yeah, so. Yeah, I know. I'm definitely upgrading my security. It's like, so. Guess I better cancel that open car parade. Just kidding. Maybe I could do it open car parade, but it's actually like a dummy version of me, and then see what happens. It's just like an inflatable version of me. I don't know, it'd be quite funny. Just troll them. Um, no, but I have to admit, sometimes I'm a little shook by some of the things that I see. Like the level of vitriolic hatred on the left, which is supposed to be tolerant. They claim they're tolerant, and yet they're incredibly intolerant. Whereas on the right, I see people sort of tend to regard people on the left as misguided, but don't hate them. They're just mistaken. They're misguided. But the amount of hate coming from the left is like, wow, next level. There's some evil stuff out there. So I think we should embrace a diversity of views, and we should have reasonable arguments, and we should have debates. That's the essence of free speech, is that ideas survive when they're competing ideas in the marketplace of ideas. If somebody says something that's incorrect, then that can be corrected. That's what happens on the X platform. People will say something, then others will add context to it, or they will correct it, or there'll be a community note. And this applies equally to the left and right. There's no thumb on the scale like there used to be. And there's no voice on the left that's been silenced, unlike in the past where many voices on the right were silenced. But they just don't seem to like the idea that people on the right can say what they want to say within the bounds of the law, which is startling. I mean, the reason for this petition in support of the Constitution is because the Constitution really is under attack. One prominent Democrat after another has been saying that freedom of speech, the First Amendment, is a bad thing. Yeah, John Kerry literally said that. Tim Walz. And Tim Walz. Yeah, and Hillary. Yeah, exactly. It's like a long list. They're not like, mid-level people it's like the top people in the Democrat Party are saying the First Amendment's an obstacle, and then they will refer to it, they use the word disinformation. Like, it's a pretty good indication that if someone's using the word disinformation a lot, they are the ones creating the disinformation. And if you're trying to figure out, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, the people who are trying to suppress freedom of speech, they are the bad guys. It's actually astonishing that we're even in this position in 2024 in America. It's hard to even believe that this is real. And some of the crazy stuff that I see happening, like California passing a law making it illegal to require voter ID in any election in the state. Not even from a city council. And a friend of mine went to vote in Palo Alto in California because he was like, is this real or not? And he tried to show his ID, and it was like presenting a cross to a vampire. They're like, no, put the ID away. They literally they weren't allowed to look at his ID even if he wanted to show it to them. That is the extent of the madness. This is a real thing in California right now. And if the Dems win nationally, they'll do it nationwide. Obviously, that's what's going to happen. And there will be no democracy. That's why I think this is the most important election of our lifetime. President Trump is the only one who can save democracy. I'm still blown away that a bunch of this stuff is even real. You know, like, and every week that goes by, something crazier happens. So, but yeah, exactly. They have ruined San Francisco. And the UK, right. There's like this movement to suppress freedom of speech throughout the world. Yep. And I mean, the thing is that if Mars 2028, you know, occupy Mars. So yeah, exactly. We want to do exciting, inspiring things that make you look forward to the future. You know, like sending people back to the moon, sending people to Mars, exploring the solar system. You know, if you ask probably anyone in the world, what was the most inspiring thing that humanity's ever done? I bet a lot of people would say we went to the moon. The fact that us humans, with all our issues and challenges, were able to go to the moon, and even though it was only a handful of people that went to the moon, in a sense, we all went there. We had that experience. I was admittedly 1 year old, but I saw the videos. And it was incredibly inspiring that that is something that humans could do. And but we want to do more than that in the future. We don't want that to be the best we ever did. We don't want that to be our high watermark. We want to go beyond. And we want to have, like I said, like a permanent moon-based alpha and a city on Mars, and you know, I think basically the entire solar system would be sick. You know, we want sci-fi to be real, not just fiction forever. You just generally want to think about the future and say that, well, there's going to be exciting, inspiring things that are going to happen that are better than the past. And that's what makes you look forward to the future. So to sort of reiterate some of the key principles of what a Trump, I mean, obviously I think you guys know, but for people out there who may be listening, and especially for independent sort of swing voters who are maybe deciding which way to go, I think with a Trump presidency, we're going to get secure borders, we're going to get safe cities, we're going to get sensible spending, we're going to get deregulation, so we have sensible regulation, and we can unlock the power of the giant that is America. And we're going to uphold the Constitution. We're going to strengthen freedom of speech, right to bear arms, and the freedoms that people treasure, and reduce the burden that the federal government places upon the states and the people within the states. You know, what that's going to do is really just take a look at all the federal expenditures and say if something is not, if you're not getting great value for money for your hard-earned tax dollars, cancel it. So, yeah. And I would regard this as, I would like to say it's a hard job, but actually it's not because there's so much waste. So this is a fairly easy job. Although we'll get a lot of opposition, naturally, from the entrenched interests that get the money and do nothing, you know, nothing good with it. They'll be grumpy about it. But the American people will be very happy that their tax dollars are being spent in a much more sensible way. And I think we also want to have extreme transparency. You know, so like no shady backroom deals or whatever, everything done in open, total exposure, like you can see the mistakes that are made, the good things that are done, you can comment on it, you can raise concerns. We want a transparent, open government because there will be mistakes that are made, but with transparency comes trust. You know, and then you can see, oh, okay, we made a mistake, we'll fix that, and that's the best way to restore trust in government. Not that you should trust government, you shouldn't trust government, but you can trust it slightly more if there's at least transparency. So those are all the things that I think we get with Trump. On the other hand, you know, with the Dem machine, you know, there's almost no point in attacking Kamala personally because she's just a puppet of the machine. But if the Dem machine takes over and has another 4 years, we'll obviously see wide open borders. We'll see our cities get less safe. We'll see extreme spending and inflation. We'll see the freedom of speech get taken away or severely undermined. We'll see the Second Amendment, right to bear arms, severely undermined. They've said they're going to do this. This is not like a secret agenda. This is what they say in public. So, you know, just believe them when they say it. And I think there's another significant danger which you consider is that there's a massive increase in the number of illegals that are being put in swing states. If you look at the actual numbers, look at the government data, so this is government data reported from a Democratic administration, and you see triple-digit increases over the past 3 years in the number of illegals in swing states. Now, the goal will then be to, over the next 4 years, to legalize all of those illegals. And when you have elections that are sometimes decided by 10 or 20,000 votes, and then you sort of put 200,000 illegals and legalize them in that same swing state, now you've got a 200,000 vote advantage. And every swing state will be blue, and America will be a one-party state forever, just like California. And that would be a nightmare. Democracy, gone. That's what I think will happen with the Kamala presidency. Mark my words. And this is why, like, people wonder, like, why am I politically active? Because I'm a technologist. I build rockets and cars and stuff. So what am I doing in politics? It's not, I don't want to be in politics. I want to be clear. That is not my preference. I just like building stuff. I like building products that people love. I derive joy from seeing people enjoy the products that my companies make. I like making products people love. And that's what I normally like doing. And I actually don't like politics at all. I hate politics. but the stakes are so high here that I have had no choice but to take a stand. So it's not something I want to do. Yeah, dramatically increasing my risk of being assassinated and engaging in politics, not what I want to do. I do not have a death wish, but the stakes are so high that I feel I have no choice but to do it. And that's the reason. And thank you all for your strong support and everything you're doing to ensure that we have a democracy and that the right side wins. Thank you guys for everything you're doing. And thank you out there. So, yeah, I mean, to everyone out there, you know, because I think there's millions of people that will watch this this town hall and this, you know, this talk and the questions that Q&A that we'll do. Please, if you're in Pennsylvania, sorry for it to be repetitive, but you've got less than 36 hours to register. Please make sure you register. Make sure everyone you know is registered to vote. And please make sure everyone you know has voted. That if they've received an absentee ballot, that they actually vote. And I really actually advise people to vote early. So vote immediately. And you can go in and it's kind of an odd nomenclature because it says absentee ballot, but you can actually take your absentee ballot and hand it in person. So then you're like, okay, then you know it got there. You're literally handing it to the person. You can, you know, I could probably take a picture of it or something. But that's incredibly important. And you know, I think like a lot of the challenge we face is I guess one of perhaps maybe not among obviously this audience, but some people that we have an issue of apathy where maybe they think their vote doesn't count or they don't think it's serious enough. And so, I know, for whatever reason, they have not registered to vote and they have not voted. So it's just really important to go out there and explain the importance of this election and how democracy is on the line. And this, I think, this might be the very last election that's a real election. And it's the most important election in your lifetime. And if there's any election where you ever vote, it should be this one. So, yeah. So let's, maybe we can go to Q&A. So we can start Q&A if anyone would like. You have to line up, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, first and second amendment, that's what our petition is about. Because the reason, like, if we lose the Second Amendment, there won't be a First Amendment. The Second Amendment is there to make sure the First Amendment stays strong. Sir?
Elon, my question is for both you and for Dave McCormick, your guest here tonight. Both of you have experienced incredible success in business, and you're both self-made men, truly the embodiment of the American dream. I want to know what Dave can do and what you can do in taking that same opportunity to Washington so that others can experience it as well.
Yeah. Well, I think the things that we've talked about will have a big effect. the sheer amount of what I call the strangulation of America by overregulation that is inhibiting progress, like preventing new houses from being built, preventing bridges from being built, preventing even trivial things like the Boring Company, for example, is just trying to dig a simple tunnel under a river, has been waiting 2 years for a permit, can't get it done, so it's just sitting somewhere. I think when Reagan did deregulation in the 80s, there was unleashed a wave of prosperity. I think that's a super big deal. The other thing that's very important that I'm telling you is a function of of your talent and hard work, nothing else. So there's like racism, sexism in any form is bad. Doesn't matter who it's directed towards. And we want to have the land of opportunity. It means that you're as good as how hard you work and how talented you are and what contribution you make, and that should be that should only be the only thing that matters about getting ahead.
I just want to know if you are considering running in 2028.
Well, there'd have to be a constitutional amendment for that. My grandfather was American, actually, but I was born, oddly enough, in Africa, which is a strange spawn point. But it's like, so I cannot be president. But it's not. I actually don't want to be president. so to be clear, I want to build rockets and cars, so I'm super literal. And in fact, you can look at talks that I gave like 20 years ago, and I say the same thing. So it's not like I'm just. I believe we want to be a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, and we need to, have great rocket technology for that. I believe in electric cars and automation and self-driving and robotics and the space-based internet. So I just love creating technologies that people find useful, and that's what I want to do with my time. So I'm hoping that. We get President Trump elected, and then I'll work hard on the Department of Government Efficiency, and then after that I hope I can not be in politics. That would be my hope. So like I said, I'm doing this because I think it's critical to the future of the country. And if America falls, nothing else matters. We're not getting to Mars or anything. And I've talked to a lot of people, like leaders in business and technology, because I was like, guys, you should really, you need to go out there and fight hard, because if America falls, your company's going to fall with it. So why not? I wish more leaders in business and technology would put themselves out there. Like they usually agree with me and they support Trump, but they're afraid of saying so. And I'm like, man, the stakes are super high. Fortunately, more and more people are sort of, coming out of the closet, type of thing. Like, so like saying they support Trump, it's like, it's like, maybe it's probably the most rebellious thing you could do in San Francisco, but it's like, by a long shot. That's, anyway, I'm not a natural politician, nor do I wish to be. I just want to make, cool technology that you'll love to use. So, all right.
Sam, just to, Eli, just to respond to Sam's question, what the Democratic Party is running on now is not only anti-business, it's anti-success. And anti-business is these huge regulations that are stifling businesses, whether it's dairy farms or SpaceX, and everything. Fracking. You don't have to ban fracking to ban fracking. You just have red tape and bureaucracy and all sorts of stipulations that make it impossible to succeed. And on the personal success side, we need to give every single kid the opportunity with great schools to be everything they can be. Our school system needs to be totally renovated to give everybody an opportunity. Not everybody Not everybody needs to go to college. They just have to have the skills to have a great career in the American dream.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Well, let's see, next question.
Hi, Elon. Like Donald Trump and like yourself, I think, I am the survivor of an assassination attempt.
Well, nobody's gotten close enough to shoot a bullet yet.
Okay. Well,
They've-
like Donald Trump then.
There's a couple people that have tried to get close, but they were arrested before they got close.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. But in my case, my parents hired a hitman, otherwise known as an abortionist doctor,
Okay.
to try to kill me when I was in the womb.
Wow.
But he was terrible at his job, and I survived, and I'm here. Thank you.
Glad you're here.
Thank you. But, so needless to say, I'm very pro-life.
Yes.
But even without that, I would be pro-life, not even based on religious reasons, but just the moral and rational, logical reasons. And I know that you're a rational person, and you are pro-humanity.
Yes.
And
I love you.
Just wondering if you would ever consider publicly supporting the pro-life movement.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously this is a contentious topic, if there ever was one. It is perhaps the most contentious topic. And to be clear out there, President Trump has been clear that he will veto a national abortion ban. He has said that because the Democrats have said that he will apply a national abortion ban, and that is causing a lot of sort of independent voters to actually not vote for Trump because they think that he will implement a national abortion ban. He has been very clear that he thinks it's a states' rights issue, and he will veto a national abortion ban. So now, there is no answer to this question that will not offend some number of people. But nonetheless, I will tell you what my opinion is, which will certainly offend some number of people. My opinion is that if a baby can survive outside the womb, it cannot be aborted. It cannot. So if a baby can survive outside the womb, if it is far enough in gestation to survive outside the womb, at that point it is not abortion, it is murder. So obviously. Now, part of the challenge here is that the education system has terrified girls and women and relentlessly pushed the idea that getting pregnant is the end of your life. Like your career is dead, you're be ostracized from society, and so when you instill terror in young girls that getting pregnant is the worst thing that could happen. They obviously, they believe that if they're just kids, and so that when that is a deep-seated belief that they've been hit with in the educational system for a long time, then the idea that they will not be able to get an abortion even in extreme circumstances is obviously a terrifying situation, and they will not vote for any candidate who might. Essentially, who would stop them from getting an abortion even in extreme circumstances. So this is the issue that we face. It's this relentless, push in education, terrifying girls and women that if they get pregnant, their life's over. And the reality is there's nothing greater than having a kid. And so, I get more joy in my life from my kids than anything else, and that's generally true of all humans. In fact, if that is how we evolved. It is a very natural thing that you will love your children. So in fact, having a child will make you happier than anything else in your life ever.
So you get a chance to ask one of the most intelligent men in the world a question. What do you ask? So, what are your thoughts on clean energy as far as nuclear energy, nuclear power.
Sure.
Seems to be the cleanest, or one of the cleanest that we have.
Yeah.
And there's talk about developing miniature reactors. Do you think that's where we should focus our tax dollars on for the future?
Well, I am very much pro-nuclear. If you actually look at the data, and especially if you look at, say, modern nuclear reactors, the modern designs are so safe that if you tried to get a meltdown, you couldn't do it. Like if you went there with flamethrowers and explosives, and your goal was to get this thing to melt down, it still won't melt down. That's how good modern nuclear reactors are. So they're not dangerous. And they're a great source of energy, and I think we should do a lot more nuclear power. I think it's a smart move. You know, when in Japan, when they had the tsunami and they had the Fukushima reactor was taken out, I had people in California asking me if they should be worried about the radiation coming from Japan. I'm like, definitely not. That's insane. And so, actually, to support the people of Japan, because people were scared to even travel to Japan, didn't just go to Japan. I went to Fukushima itself and ate locally grown vegetables on TV. And amazing, I'm still alive. Wow, can you believe it? No, we don't need to send the nuclear waste to a different planet. The nuclear waste is very tiny, and it can you can store it, as much of it as you want on site at the nuclear reactor. You don't even need to move it.
You'll tell me when?
Not yet. So anyway, I just said we should be less scared of nuclear stuff, and it doesn't take long to just. I mean, if you just read like even Wikipedia level stuff, it's going to make it clear that it's not a scary. It's not a scary thing. Now, if to sort of maybe sort of wax scientific philosophically, the real massive energy source in our solar system overwhelmingly is the sun. So the sun converts roughly 4.5 million tons of mass to energy every second, and it's very reliable. And requires no maintenance and no servicing. It's pretty great. No service for like all that energy. So long term, by far, the most amount of energy we'll get is from the sun. The solar energy exceeds all other energy by a factor of 1 trillion, like literally, not an exaggeration. So, yeah. Yeah, solar flares can take out the grid because the grid's like a giant, like a radio antenna. So solar flares can take out the grid. Yeah. I don't know if we have a plan. I suspect we do not have a plan. So, Tesla megapacks can help buffer the grid and add resilience to the grid. So, and they've done that in many parts of the world, including in the U.S. So, let's see. So, yeah.
Well, first, thank you for everything, Elon. You've just been incredible for the last 20 years. My question is about the election is, are you concerned about the rise of AI, especially foreign governments' AIs, on our election system?
Yeah, I think we should just, in general, be wary of AI, domestically or internationally. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I think like most likely, I think it's 80% likely that AI makes the future great, and 20% that it makes the future really bad. So we want to maximize the probability of it being good, and I think we should be on the lookout for any manipulation domestically or internationally through the use of AI. It's going to happen.
Hi, Elon. 23-year-old native Pittsburgher here. Very appreciative of the love you've shown us during this extremely important time in the election. Thank you so much. My question today, Elon, is I know you're familiar with Pittsburgh because of the work we've done over at CMU in the machine learning, machine discovery field.
Yeah.
And my question today is...
Carnegie Mellon's an awesome university, actually. One of my sons is headed to CMU next year.
Great, great.
Yeah.
My question today, Elon, is in regards to the rumored government efficiency role that you and Trump have spoke about. How can you use this role to work AI in the right direction for all people, not just people like myself who work in the field, but for everyone. I think for young voters like myself, it's something that concerns us as we look forward. So how, as you get more entrenched in public policy, can you help us there?
Well, I'll answer that, but I would actually like to hear what do you think I should do?
My
thoughts.
thoughts.
I'd like to hear. Like you know,
Absolutely.
I'm basically looking for feedback here. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations! Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, great school.
My thoughts are that
So it's probably the best robotics college in the world. So
it's a shaky road forward, and I agree with you. I think 20% could be bad, and 20% could be phenomenal. And I think for Pittsburgh, I speak for Pittsburgh here. It is a city that is moving away from steel and into technology. And with people like yourself, if we can improve that sector here, I think we can improve life here for everyone. And if we can improve life in Pittsburgh, we can use AI and those technologies to improve life for people everywhere. And I think it's through a lack of regulation, as opposed to what they're doing in the EU right now, attacking people. And I just was curious on your thoughts.
yeah, well, I think we are going to see a massive massive increase in the number of robots, and you know, recently Tesla unveiled the latest Optimus robot, and I think that's going to be really cool. I mean, we want to give everyone their own personal C-3PO R2-D2. You know, and like, who wouldn't want that? That'd be awesome. You know, and even better than that. So I think that's really going to be, yeah. And well, yeah, privacy concerns are significant. Anyway, but one of the things I want to be clear is that I am looking for feedback. So it's not like I'm just going open loop here and doing whatever I want to do. I'm like, I kind of want to know what do the people want, and you know, and what should we do, and then do it. You know, so it's as opposed to me just deciding on my own, like you know. So yeah.
Elon, you're clearly a great American pioneer, and we all in Pittsburgh want to welcome you and thank you for coming. Thank you for taking my question.
Well, it's an honor to be here.
This is really the cradle of pioneers in the history of America. People here from George Washington as a surveyor to Lewis and Clark, who pushed their Pittsburgh-made boat into the Ohio and explored the West, to so many industries being born. Radio, the movies, the first refinery for oil, the Pittsburgh coal seams, the biggest in the world, the nuclear energy, Westinghouse and Tesla creating alternating current out at Rockwell Park, the philanthropic industry. Pittsburgh outproduced Germany and Japan in steel together during World War II. A group of us are starting a movement here, we're calling it Pittsburgh Tomorrow, in which we're trying to rekindle that pioneering spirit. Clearly, your son is and all. You mentioned you might want to invest. We believe that not only can we turn around the malaise in America and help make Pittsburgh resurgent, but also by making this a place where people can conceive of a new reality and make it happen, that can provide the same kind of example that you're striving for. So I just want to thank you for being here, and we want to welcome and invite you to invest in our city as we make it the best place to live in the world.
Sounds good. Well, I mean, given that my son will be attending college here next year, I'm going to be in Pittsburgh a lot, so yeah. Going to be waving this towel quite a lot. Good exercise. Loosens you up.
Hi, I'm here tonight as a sex trafficking survivor. And I am here to ask you personally, Elon, if you will work with sex trafficking survivors and sex workers about our First Amendment rights and how both X and you can help both vulnerable communities who already have laws against our First Amendment rights that are on the books.
Okay. I mean, I'm generally in favor of any policy that maximizes the happiness of the people. What would you recommend?
First of all, I'd recommend repealing FOSTA SESTA, which was signed on April 11th of 2018 and supported by both parties. What this actually does is it silences certain vulnerable communities, both sex trafficking survivors as well as sex workers, from anywhere in the internet. They
Really?
shut our websites down. Within weeks, people started to die, both
This sounds
by
crazy.
suicide as well as homicide. Violence is up at an all-time high, and we are currently being silenced by our government with laws such as FOSTA SESTA, which violates our First Amendment rights. And as a child sex trafficking survivor and a full-service sex worker of over 25 years, I can tell you that the resources in Pennsylvania for sex trafficking survivors are going to police to arrest full-service sex workers instead of protecting anybody. I was abused at age 9 and 10 right here in Western Pennsylvania.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And over 30 years later, there are still 0 sex trafficking survivor resources, and police continue to arrest full-service sex workers and say that they're helping the children, but they're not helping any children. So would you be open to a conversation to work with sex trafficking survivors and sex workers to make X a platform where we are safe and don't get silenced by our government?
Well, as I've said very clearly, I'm in favor of anything that supports freedom of speech. So any infringement on freedom of speech, I would be against, and people should be able to speak their mind. That's the whole idea of the First Amendment. And I mean, the priority, for law enforcement should be protecting children, first and foremost, because they can't protect themselves. So, protect the kids first, everything else second.
Hi, Elon. Thanks so much for being here. As you know, you're an inspiration to us all, but mostly you're really an inspiration to the young children of America who want to be able to dream big and who want to be able to do things. But the federal government, with the Department of Education, puts a firewall behind that. They don't allow our kids to dream big. They don't allow them to have free thoughts. They're censored in the classroom. They can't talk about the open discourse that you encourage on X. So you're doing that on X, but what can we? I'm a mom of 3 kids. How can we make this happen in schools so that the kids can dream big and achieve what you're dreaming?
Right. Well, I do think we need significant reform in education. I mean, the Department of Education seems to regard as its primary duty foisting propaganda on our children, as opposed to getting them a good education. It's insane. I mean, we should be the priority should be teach kids skills that they will find useful later in life, and leave any sort of social propaganda out of the classroom.
Okay, I got a foreign policy type question for you. So in Israel, they have free healthcare, they have free college. We don't have it in this country yet. Every year we send them $3.8 billion. Last year, in addition to the $3.8 billion, we sent them another $14.3 billion. So why should we as taxpayers keep funding that lifestyle in Israel? And second question real quick, we also have our politicians bought and paid for by AIPAC because AIPAC sends back the money we send them into the tune of $100 million. How can you fix that for us?
Well, I think we need to take a look at all federal expenditures and say, all federal expenditures and say, is this really benefiting the American people or is it not? And if it is, well, are we spending it wisely? Well, usually the answer is no. So then we should spend less money and spend it efficiently. But there's got to be a clear benefit to the American people, or we shouldn't be spending money.
Elon, I just want to say I'm a huge fan. I wasn't an X-user. After you bought it, I became an X-user.
Thank you. Please encourage everyone to,
Premium. I'm a premium X-user.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'd just like to thank everyone who's a sort of a paid subscriber on X. It's really important because otherwise we're totally beholden to the advertisers. So when you subscribe, you're helping with freedom of speech. So thank you for subscribing. Yeah.
And as I became an X-user, I did bought a Tesla, which I love.
Great.
And just recently, I ordered Starlink because of what you did for all the hurricane victims.
Great.
Elon, my son and I are huge fans, so my son is in the line over there. He literally, every single word you speak, he takes to heart. He got married at age 17.
Wow.
And he has 2 children, and his goal is to
Excellent.
have more children than you, Elon.
That is a great goal.
Awesome.
Honestly, the birth rate issue is a massive problem.
Yeah.
So I mean, that is great. Like, we need people.
Yes.
It's like, if you don't make new humans, there's no humanity. It's like, they don't come from nowhere. Yeah, you gotta make them, and it's really hard to make kids. And
Yes.
it takes a long time for them to grow up, and there's a lot of diapers involved.
Awesome.
But kids are the most wonderful thing that you'll ever have in your life, and
Yes.
you know, I would say start early. So I'm glad to hear your son's doing that.
So we will keep supporting Elon. The quote that comes to me thinking of you is, the only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing.
Right.
And what you've done the last 2 years is stood up and spoke, and now evil is getting tamped down, and we appreciate your courageous leadership. And
Thank you, Elon. So much of campaign messaging is about fixing current problems, where I think future aspirations for the country often don't get discussed as much. You obviously have some pretty large goals for your companies. So with years of good leadership and common sense policies implemented under a Trump presidency, describe your utopia America and describe the long-term achievements that you believe can be possible. Thank you.
Sure. Well, first of all, I should say that I think America is great. So, and I think we want to make sure that the fundamental elements that have made America great remain in place. You know, and those fundamental elements are freedom and opportunity. So maximizing individual freedom, minimizing government interference, and making sure that you get ahead as a function of your hard work and talent, and that's the only thing. If we have those fundamental things, and we you know, then the Constitution stands strong, America will get greater and greater. So that's really important. But to your point, like, we have to have a combination. We have to do both things. We have to, you know, solve the problems that we face, but we must also have exciting, inspiring goals. Because life can't just be about solving one miserable problem after another. I mean, that's like, it's hard to get fired up about, okay, we've got another problem to solve. There's got to be things that you're excited about in the future, that move your heart. You know, you're like, wow, I can't wait to see that happen, you know? So that's the kind of thing where you like, you know, where we want optimism about the future, optimism that is grounded on realism. So, you know, I think, you know, grand projects, you know, revolutionizing the transport. You know, I mean, obviously, I've got some ideas, and probably other people have ideas too. You know, I think it's possible, although I'm not really involved in medicine outside of Neuralink, I think it's possible for us to have a revolution in medicine. You know, like, there are actually a huge number of drugs that are stuck in approval at the FDA that can help people. And they're just stuck in bureaucratic molasses. And a good friend of mine was telling me a story that fortunately had a happy ending, where his mom was diagnosed with brain cancer, and she, you know, the oncologist said, you know, there's no chance. It's, you know, she's got maybe 4 or 5 months to live. But my friend is a very smart, determined person, and he searched, you know, for you know, what are, and he talked to every smart person he knew, and he found someone who said, yeah, actually, there's a drug that's in trials that you take this pill, and it actually makes the brain cancer go away. Literally, you just take a pill. He's like, what? And I think it's called like Wellirig or something, FYI. This drug called Wellirig that solves brain cancer. Maybe more people should know about this. And I think it's in trials at Harvard or something, and it cured his mom. And you know, so that just happened. I think it was like this year. But if we could just be faster about getting, you know, amazing drugs through the system, a lot more people would be alive. You know, and you know, that's the kind of thing when I say, like, you know, like overregulation kills people. where you've got helpful drugs stuck in approvals and not help, and could be helping people, but they're not. That's crazy, you know. So simply expediting drug approval and the FDA, I think, will save millions of lives. So.
From Charleroi, Pennsylvania, the home of Pyrex. Pyrex is synonymous to quality. Corning Glass created Pyrex. Pyrex is in almost every kitchen in the world because the people love it. The product they love. And along with Pyrex, Corning created Gorilla Glass that's in almost every phone in this facility today.
Sure.
They built that on quality and excellence over centuries.
Okay.
You have created multiple companies on quality and excellence in just the last few decades. The key to that is you have it, and what is that? Can we bring that key to Washington? And one follow-up is our competition bought Pyrex, and they want to rip away the quality, and when the FTC proves antitrust, will you be our white knight?
Well, I mean, to the degree that I'm influential in government, I will do my best to ensure that actions are taken that maximize the benefit to the American people. So I think probably yes. And look, I don't know how, at the end of the day, how much influence I'll have. But I'll do my best to be as helpful as possible.
Hi, Elon. I just want to say thank you, like everybody else has too. With your amazement, involvement, and contributions in technology, do you have any projects or interest in developing kidneys for people like myself who suffer from hereditary diseases and kidney failure to help us get off of dialysis and move into a normal life?
Well, I do not have any kidney programs myself, but there might be some companies out there that do. And just to get back to the regulation thing, it's if we can have sensible regulation and fast track approvals of new technologies, then I think things like new kidneys and many other ailments can be available to the American public much faster and at a much lower cost. Because actually a lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of the cost of developing these new medications and new cures, new devices is the massive regulatory burden that is placed upon companies. So I think we ought to expedite approvals for new drugs, new devices, and new medical technology things. And then as long as companies very clearly describe the benefits and the risks, it should be up to the individual as to whether they want to use it.
Hi, Elon. And it's to tag on the question about DOGE and the healthcare expenditure. Because I'm a heart surgeon. I'm in the practice for 25 years. So I've seen so many inefficiencies.
Yes, absolutely. When I talk to doctors, they tell me everyone, they're mired in bureaucracy and administrative stuff, and then they get sued, sued to bankruptcy sometimes, and it's just crazy.
That's right. $4.8 trillion we spend, and still very inefficient and highly costly. So my question to you is, Pittsburgh, we have a very well-reputed 3 healthcare systems, UPMC, Allegheny, and WVU systems, to provide the domain knowledge. And we have a Carnegie Mellon for engineering talent. So we needed a third guy, like you, who can do the impossible things, like bringing the astronaut from the International Space Station down, or catching a 250-ton rocket with 2 chopsticks, or build a 100,000 server farm in 19 days, which normally takes 4 years. So I think we need a guy like you, impossible, to create a healthcare AI, and Pittsburgh will be a great place to do it. So can you able to do a healthcare AI here?
I think AI is going to be incredible for medicine. Actually, as it is for Grok right now, you can actually upload a PET scan and ask Grok to analyze the PET scan for you. And then you can compare that to what a doctor tells you and see what the difference is. Like you can literally upload your image to Grok, and it will analyze your MRI, your PET scan, whatever the case may be, and tell you what it thinks the probable issue is. And that's with Grok 2, and Grok 3 will be out in a few months, and it'll be 10 times better. So I think it could be really helpful to medical professionals and to individuals. So I think there's a lot of amazing potential. I think there's the potential for us to have an amazing, exciting future, but we just have to work hard to make that happen. And you know, to circle back, I think essential to making that happen is electing President Trump. Indeed. Let's do that again. So, yeah, you know, it's like my friggin' back still hurts. It's like, you know, here's 2024, and I still have back pain. I'm sure a lot of people in the audience have back pain. You know, it's just solving back pain, I think, would be a massive increase in people's happiness. Yes.
Well, God bless you, Elon. God bless you for what you are doing for our country. And you have articulated, yes, how you love children, and children cannot protect themselves.
Of course.
So we must protect them.
Yes.
Well, there are a couple of documentaries, Truth, that are out there about what's happened to over 300,000 children who have crossed the borders, the open borders, and they have been sex trafficked. And nobody can see, and that's probably a very low number, and it's happening in every state in this country, and especially, like you said, the swing states. I know that it's happening in communities near me. So these documentaries cost a lot to make, so there is a charge to watch them, $10 minimal, but still expensive for some. Is there anything that you can do to make these documentaries more widespread and available?
Well, that's a good point. Well, I guess like I do have a foundation, and maybe the foundation could pay to have them, you know, available for free or something like that.
They're a line in the sand and What is Treason, or
Okay.
just two of them. So
All
if
right.
you could look into that, that would be amazing for those children and their families.
All right, I'll look into it.
Thank you.
I love my Tesla.
Thank you.
And I admire your ability to define what your vision is and to work backwards and engineer solutions to successfully achieve solutions to those. And thank you for applying those to our Constitution and to help restore our representative republic.
You're most welcome.
My concern is the puppet masters that
Indeed.
are behind the scenes, and they, I call them global cabal dictatorship because they're connected and they have no intention of giving up that power.
Yeah.
They dogged Trump in his first term, and I anticipate them doing the same in the next. When he's elected, how can you help Trump remove their power and damper their influence this time around?
Yeah. No, I do want to be clear that, like, in my opinion, we should not do the bad things that they are doing, you know? So, you know, if you look at what the Dem machine has done, they've tried to imprison President Trump. They've engaged in unbelievable lawfare just to stop people from voting, which is obviously anti-democratic. But I think the right thing to do is not to do what they've done, but rather to reinforce the strength of the legal system and for there to be some kind of punishment for engaging in lawfare. So you know, one should not respond to corruption of the system with corruption, but with removal of corruption. That's the right thing.
Hello, Elon. My name's Harrison Burkhardt. I've lived in here for about a year and a half in Pittsburgh. First of all, I just want to say thank you. You've been a I've looked up to you since I was 8 years old, and I'm 19 now, so that's obviously a significant amount of time. And,
Well, thanks.
And I don't know, with everything you've done, you were against lockdowns, you've endorsed Donald Trump, you're trying to protect the American Constitution. You've proven to me that I chose the right childhood hero, and I just want to say thank you for that.
Well,
and
it's kind of you to say. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So my question for you, you've talked a lot about how you want to minimize government intervention and all that. And I was just wondering specific things. I know, for example, John F. Kennedy wanted to blow the CIA up into 1,000,000 pieces.
Yeah, maybe he should have not said that. He should
is there
have.
anything specific that you want to destroy like that?
You don't want to, definitely don't do open car parades after saying something like that. I think we obviously want to not have corruption in government, and in general, we want to have smaller government. Because the larger government gets, the less individual freedom you have. And I think that's really the core, like as I said, the core things people have said for many years, from the founding of the country, was that's freedom and opportunity. And we want to and your freedoms have just been eroded year after year with more and more government laws and regulations and regulatory authorities. When I looked it up, there's like 428 federal agencies. That's like almost 2 per. Unconstitutional. Yes, indeed, unconstitutional. So, like, what the hell do you need 428 agencies for? Like, why do you even need 100? This is crazy. So, they're currently making new agencies at a rate of 2 per year. And every one of them is chipping away at your freedom. So it's essential for us to unwind that process and restore your personal freedom. And with that will come great prosperity and personal happiness, I believe. Yeah, go ahead. Sure. Sorry, go ahead.
All right. Well, you talk about minimizing government. Would you want to make tax cuts too? For example, the American Revolution was started over a 2% tax on imports.
Yeah.
How low would you want to go as far as cutting taxes?
Yeah, it's pretty wild that a tiny tax on tea started the revolution. And now we get the living daylights tax out of us, and nobody seems to, there's no revolution. I mean, you get taxed on what you own, you get taxed on what you buy, and you get taxed on what you own. And it's like, okay, this is taxes, 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 and and then what does it get spent on? A bunch of the stuff it gets spent on you don't even agree with. So that's why we need to reduce the size of government and just spend less money, and let the people keep a lot more of their hard-earned money. Yeah.
Hi, Elon. My name is Denise, and I run Pennsylvania Women for Trump. We're Pennsylvania's largest grassroots group, and the best day of my life is when you bought Twitter. It was so freaking awesome.
Thank you.
Meg, I do want to come work for you, and I know your best friends here, and I gave them all my information. But anyway, I would like to know if you have a solution to Big Pharma. As a mom of 3 kids with autism, I would like to know, what are we going to do about these people poisoning our children?
Yeah. I think transparency and accountability are very important. So now, in my opinion of Big Pharma is that there's good and bad. It's not all bad, obviously. There are many life-saving drugs that are developed by the big pharma companies and small pharma companies, but there are also mistakes that they make. And so we just need to make sure that the system is actually helping the pharma companies bring life-saving cures to market faster, but also that there should be some punishment if they do bad things, just like for any company. And I think those are just basic common sense rules. So.
My name is Madison. I'm 22 years old, and I just started my first position in industrial controlled cybersecurity. So like everyone else, I want to say thank you for the inspiration you've been in technology. It's been nice to look at you and what you're doing and see kind of the issues and some of the possibilities in that realm. but for political questions, because I'm assuming that's more appropriate for the
Well,
venue.
and to be clear, like the kind of questions that are the best questions to ask are what do you think people out there would like to know the answer to, or if if there's a comment or a question that you think maybe millions of people would like to know, that's what we're optimizing for here. Yeah.
Okay, so on that note, I kind of want to go back to the robotics and AI technology developments. I think that regulating the technology itself is a vain effort, and you've obviously worked in the development a lot. Can you speak to kind of what you've seen about human-centric development? Because I think that might be the only thing that's going to protect us from things getting out of hand.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally understand the question, but I do think that any given technology that's developed, the goal of it should be to help humanity and to bring joy to people and help people. So that's, and I do, to be clear, I do think there is a role for regulators. Just like there is a role for referees in a sports game. Like every sports game has referees. Tonight's Steelers game, they got referees. And it's a better game for having referees. But you don't want to have so many refs on the field, that the running back can't even get through them. It's like I can't catch the ball because I have this 20 referees in my way. That's the situation we have in industry today. Is far too many refs on the field. Sometimes more refs than players. And if you saw that in a sports game, you're like, this is crazy. But I'm not. I want to be clear. Like, I'm not saying no regulation. I'm just saying sensible regulation. You want the right number of referees in the field, but not any more than that. So, yeah.
Hi, Elon. Thank you for everything you've done recently to help save our country from ruin. It's really appreciated.
You're most welcome.
There's a rumor
floating. Thank you for doing things to help the country too.
Yeah, that's right. There's a rumor floating around that you have interest in investing in our city, which I hope is true. And if so, let me know where I can submit my resume.
Well, I'm a big fan of Pennsylvania, and I think there's a good chance that one of my companies does something in the future in Pennsylvania.
Go see him. Who we vote for in our office will ultimately shape the future of our country. If that statement is true, the most important members of our society that we can think about when voting in elections would be our children and our grandchildren. Since they are not eligible to vote, and we have others voting for selfish reasons, what would be your thoughts on reshaping voter eligibility? Some sort of criteria or guidelines that must be met in order to vote?
You mean like changing?
Being an active tax voter.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, frankly, I'd be happy if it was just that citizens voted. I'd call that a win. If we could just make sure that only legal citizens can vote, which is how it's supposed to be, I'd say that would be quite a victory compared to where we are right now. Just and I think having more transparency on elections, maximum transparency on elections, and as I've said before, I think we should not allow voting machines of any kind. I've been programming computers since I was 9 years old, and I know how easy it is to get a line of software wrong or hack a computer, and so I think the last thing we want to do is have electronic voting machines. We want paper ballots in person with ID, and actually, it's sort of in terms of a real AI danger that hopefully is not there this year, but will certainly be a danger in the future, is that advanced AI will be super good at hacking computers. And so if you have voting machines that are connected to the internet and you've got super advanced AI that can potentially affect those machines, I think that's very dangerous. So we actually, so what I'm saying is that I'm normally someone who favors technology. I'm super, 21st century technology boy right here. And I'm saying no machines for voting. Yeah.
Hi, Elon. My name's Andy. I'm a technologist. I consider myself like you in that way. Sadly, I missed you at the Robotaxi event last week. I actually got a ticket, couldn't make it, looked amazing, super excited for the future. Thank you for being here. On to my
Most welcome.
question. I was disappointed by the current administration's lack of inclusion of you and Tesla at the EV Summit.
Yeah.
Tesla is a truly great American company that should be cherished for its technology that's advanced humankind and provided a large number of American jobs. My question is, how can the Trump administration kindle the growth of the automotive, EV, and autonomous tech industries?
Well, honestly, I go back to minimizing, government intervention. In general, I'm very much in favor of small government, and that there shouldn't be incentives, tax breaks, or for anything at all. That would be no incentives, tax for anything at all. Whether it's that includes oil and gas, electric cars, nothing, no incentives for nothing. So so the tax code is like, I mean, you could fill this room with the tax code. It's like so-called. I think only an AI could even understand the tax code, maybe. I think we want to have a tax code you can actually read, both as a human. Instead of having it might be upwards of 1 million different tax breaks or tax loopholes or whatever. It's insane. Like I said, I think we want minimal government action and maximum freedom for the people, and that is what leads to the highest level of prosperity. Yeah.
Given how punitive the SEC has been towards crypto under this administration, do you envision the XRP ledger being incorporated into the financial institutions in the future?
Well, I certainly cannot speak to any specific crypto, but I do think that the sort of cryptocurrency is an interesting and probably valuable bulwark against a centralized control. This is definitely not an endorsement or lack of endorsement for XRP. But I do think crypto, by its very nature, it helps with individual freedom.
So, Mr. Musk, thank you very much for coming. Also, as a Pittsburgh fan, I hope to see you at tonight's game. That'd be pretty incredible. I
actually would love to be there. I got to get back and see my kids. Speaking of kids.
Okay.
So yeah.
My question, as well as I'm sure many millions of Americans, I'm a young entrepreneur and voter. We are spending so much money in a lot of useless ways, I feel, in the government spending. So a lot of that also is very irritating as a voter, is the money that we are spending overseas in not helping our own country, like in North Carolina and down south right now. I want to know, is it possible when you get in here into the government of efficiency, how are you going to help us with spending money efficiently and using our tax money well?
Yeah, well, I think the step number one is spend a lot less of it. It's like the first order of business is to say any given expenditure, I think we want to zero budget the thing. Say let's start from scratch. Because it doesn't make sense to reduce a foolish expenditure by 10% if it should be zero. And I bet I know there's a lot of things that are super wasteful. I mean, look at the sort of $42 billion that's been allocated for rural broadband, and SpaceX won like a quarter of it, and then they rescinded that contract for political reasons, and in fact, it would have meant a bunch of those terminals would have been in the affected hurricane areas, so that could have cost lives. That kind of political lawfare is unconscionable. And you know how many people have been connected by that 42 billion? Zero. Literally zero. So I would say that program should be zero. Because value for money is zero.
Hi, Elon. I'm 20 years old, and instead of going to college, I decided to start my own business. Your innovativeness inspires me. What is a piece of advice you would have for someone like me or me to be as innovative as you are in business?
Well, I didn't really set out to be innovative. I think you want to set out with saying like, what's a useful product or service that you think people would like, and then try to make that thing real. And I think as long as you're, doing an honest day's work and providing useful products and services to people, I think you should be very proud of that. I have a huge respect for anyone who puts in an honest day's work, contributing to society. So that's what matters.
Good afternoon, Elon. As somebody who is directly involved in the pioneering of space travel, what is your perspective on the suppression of advanced technologies under UAP crash retrieval programs and other black projects such as Immaculate Constellation that have the potential to fundamentally change human society?
I'm not familiar with those programs, but I mean, I certainly think if there are technologies that can be helpful, the government's aware of it. We should obviously provide that technology to the people. So I should say that people often ask me, do I believe in aliens? I said, well, I was one, according to Homeland Security until I got my, it literally said alien registration card. I'm like, cool. But I mean, thus far, I'm not aware of any evidence for aliens on Earth. I'm not saying they're not here, but I've not seen any evidence for aliens. For our Starlink constellation, we have never had to maneuver around an alien spacecraft even once. And we've got 6,000 satellites up there. So, I mean, they're very subtle, is what I'm saying, these aliens, But I think if there's if there's interesting stuff that the government's aware of that American people would find interesting or useful, we should obviously make that known. We should publish it. So, thank you.
Hey, Elon. My name is Jordan Scott Gilbert, and I'm a Broadway producer and movie director who creates conservative content and Christian content for stage and film. As you know, a lot of conservatives and Christians have been blacklisted from Hollywood and Broadway. So my question to you is, would you consider creating an entertainment company to also save art as well as Western civilization? And what role do you think art plays in protecting freedom of speech and our constitutional freedoms?
Yeah, I think, yeah. Well, I'm glad that you're making art that is on the right. I mean, it's because I think, we have to say, like, where do kids and adults, how do they get informed of what's going on? What moral underpinnings are conveyed in the art that is produced? And there should be more people that are making interesting art, whether it's plays, movies, books, that are on the right, because it's overwhelmingly on the left. So I'm glad you're doing this, and I hope more people do it. I'd appreciate just art that's in the center, frankly. That'd be quite nice. It's like I enjoy playing video. People ask me like what my hobbies are. It's like, well, I'm a technology nerd, so I like playing video games. And it's like, it's really annoying when the video game gets interrupted by some DEI woke bullshit. And I'm like, Jesus, I was playing a video game here. To leave the video games alone, you don't want to do things that damage art. So it breaks you out of the story. So.
Hi, Elon. My name is Nolan Duncan, and it's my goal to one day make our region proud by being just as successful and driven as you. One thing we do share, though, is the love and pride of our country. Anyway, I'm a small business owner, a recently sworn-in firefighter, all while having a full-time job, which I may not have after today.
Really? Why not?
I'm late. I'm 30 minutes late.
Oh, geez, okay.
But I'm doing this because I love our country, and I love all of you who are fighting to make this country great again. So let's keep it up.
Yes.
Jobs are all a dime a dozen anymore. I'll find a new one if I have to.
Yeah. I think you'll be fine.
I began this journey a year ago with the intent to become self-sufficient and take control of my destiny as an entrepreneur. However, it is utterly apparent that our government, rather the incompetents who run it, are self-sabotaging our future generations. And at this point, it is imperative that we protect our republic with safer and transparent elections. This is rather... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, very much agree.
Oh, that's good. This is a rather novel concept to many in this room. But for the future, and since you are actively involved in cryptocurrency...
I'm not actively involved in crypto, to be clear.
No? Okay.
So, no, I mean, I'm actually not actively involved in crypto.
Oh, no? Okay. Well,
so
Dogecoin, all
I make Dogecoin jokes and stuff because I kind of like Dogecoin because it's got the best sense of humor and it has dogs and memes, and I love all those things.
There you go.
So
anyway, what are your thoughts on implementing the blockchain for future elections? And also, as a content creator, X has so much potential. Would you consider making X a dominant force against video and streaming platforms such as YouTube and Twitch to compete against these ridiculous policies that empower content creators to their fullest?
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to have an X. Well, it does currently enable up to 4-hour videos, and we'll soon be offering 4K resolution. And we're continuing to improve our streaming capability for gamers that want to stream or anyone that wants to stream content. We've made a lot of progress, and hopefully we can offer an alternative. The X app is now available on big TVs, so you can actually watch stuff on TVs. And yeah, I think it's just generally good to have competition. I mean, competition is what competition keeps companies honest. Yeah, thank you.
First off, I wanted to thank you for saving democracy and all your contributions to civilization.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm 24 years old. What key advice would you give to the younger generation wanting to start a family?
I mean, my advice regarding starting a family is start immediately. Yeah, I think people worry too much about having kids, and sometimes it's difficult to make ends meet and whatnot. But honestly, there's really no time like the present. Just have kids, you won't be sorry. It'll work out.
Hi, Elon. Thanks for being here today. With your with your Department of Efficiency, how far back do you think we're going to have to go in order to right the wrongs that are in this country?
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly a lot of work for Department of Government Efficiency. And there will be immense opposition, obviously, to making the government more efficient from entrenched interests that currently benefit from sucking away vast amounts of taxpayer money. They will not like the fact that they're not getting it anymore. They will fight tooth and nail. So, but it's got to be done. And like I said, we're going to aim to reduce government spending, get government out of people's lives as much as possible, and restore freedom and liberty.
Hello, Mr. Musk. My name is Allie Hoffman, and I'm Secretary of the Carnegie Mellon College Republicans. Before I ask my quick question, I would love to welcome your son to join our club next year.
Sounds good.
Second, I just wanted to ask you, what was the driving problem that got you into politics, and what was that breaking point that made you really want to get into politics?
Yeah, well, as I said, I really would prefer not to be in politics at all. And the reason that I have stepped into the political arena this time is because I think the stakes are extremely fundamental. I think democracy is on the line. I think the Constitution's on the line. I fear that if Trump does not win, we're going to be, we're going to have a single-party state. It's going to be like California, but actually worse than California, because the one thing that keeps California from going even further than they do go is that people can move out of California and still be in America. But if you've got no place to move, then it's going to be much worse than California. And that's the danger that we face. Sort of an oppressive, totalitarian state that has extreme restrictions on freedom of speech, that continues extreme overregulation, that just basically makes government even bigger than it is today, and takes away the liberty of the people. So that's something I wanted to do, but I felt it was critical to do it, or America's not going to be America.
Over 100 years ago, Nikola Tesla dreamed of delivering free and unlimited energy, not just to the people of the United States, but to the people of the world. And he was up against a dirty machine, same machine that we're fighting today, same machine that's been suppressing, suiciding inventors for decades, as evidenced by Secrecy Invention Act of 1951. We need somebody that has the wallet to not care what people think and not be bullied around while having the guts to give the finger to the adversaries. And whether it's through government efficiency or private sector, if you're taking suggestions, I would encourage you to pursue that avenue to give the people of the earth something clean, renewable, efficient, and imagine what kind of rockets you could build with ethereal energy. So if you would like to discuss it more, I'm getting sushi afterwards if you want to join me, but I would love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, like I said, I mean, I think we want to get government out of people's lives and give people their liberty and freedom back, and allow them to keep more of their hard-earned money. And I think that's what leads to prosperity and a happier people. So that's what we're going to aim for. So I'll take a couple more questions and call it a day.
Hi, Elon. I'm Edwin. I believe that you are the Benjamin Franklin of our times, and thank you for unapologetically being you. My question is, on several occasions in your life, you have bet the farm on highly ambitious and almost improbable goals, in spite of well-intentioned advices from friends, family, and even your idols like Neil Armstrong saying, "Don't do it, Elon."
Yeah.
Most people would break under that kind of pressure. So how did you get them, or how do you get the mental fortitude to listen to all of that advice, process it, realize you're probably going to fail, and go ahead and do it in spite of the fear?
Yeah, I mean, when starting SpaceX and Tesla, people said, you're probably going to fail, and I agreed with them. I said, yeah, I think the probability of success is less than 10%. But I felt if we didn't try to do something radical in space and with electric cars, then nothing was happening. Like the existing big companies were not innovating. Like the cost of access to space was actually increasing every year in the U.S., not decreasing. And there was no, it was basically, we're doing less and less every year in space exploration, not more. And so I was like, well, if, even if it's like a 1% chance of SpaceX succeeding, that's still better than nothing. So, I was like, the people tell me this joke so many times, like, what's the best way to make a small fortune in the space industry is to start with a large one. And I was like, so then when people would tell me that joke, I would say, well, I was trying to figure out how to make a large fortune into a small one. And like, how do you know? Yeah, exactly. So, so it wasn't with the expectation of success that we started SpaceX and Tesla. It was with the expectation of failure. But we felt it was important enough, nonetheless, to give it our best shot. And we just barely made it. SpaceX, the first 3 flights didn't succeed. The 4th one did. And if that 4th one had failed, I was out of money and the company would not exist. So, it was the same thing for Tesla. Same thing for Tesla. 2008 was a really tough year because that's when we had the 3rd rocket failure, and the auto industry was busy going bankrupt. GM and Chrysler went bankrupt in early 2009, and they're busy going bankrupt in late 2008. And in the case of Tesla, we closed the financing round of Tesla, and I gave all the money that I had left, and we closed that financing round. in the last hour of the last day that it was possible. It was around 5 p.m. Christmas Eve 2008. And if that round had not closed in that call, Tesla would have bounced payroll 2 days after Christmas. So.
Good afternoon, Elon. I thank you for saving my son's life at the age of 25 in his little red Y, Tesla. Going 77 miles an hour on the turnpike, a deer jumped. The cabin knew there was an impact. It lifted the front hood, so the deer was not in my son's lap. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Secondly, my question is...
Yeah, we do actually, the top priority for Tesla design and engineering is actually safety.
That's why he bought your S, and now he has your Cybertruck, and he is 25, and you are his inspiration, and he was to be here, but he didn't get the ticket, Mom did.
All right.
So my question is, as an educator for over 20 years, and for the rights to bear arms, why in the public schools do we not have a team of concealed carry professional staff, faculty, on all colleges, public schools that are completely under confidentiality and highly trained to protect our schools? And if we cannot protect our children, then can you design equipment that will allow our schools and our campuses to be freely safe of any man or woman who thinks that they are going to take us down?
Sure. Well, you know, I don't actually have an answer for everything. So I'm doing my best here to just, answer questions as best I can and, hopefully get most of them right and probably some wrong, but, and then correct the ones that are wrong. But yeah, I do think there are steps we can take to improve safety on campus and on schools. And I think if there are highly trusted teachers who are willing to, we need to make sure, obviously, they're highly trusted and very, very capable, who are willing to have firearms to protect the kids. I think we should probably let them do it. All right, so I'll just do this question and one more, and then we'll call it a day.
Hi. I'm one of the Pennsylvania conservatives Pennsylvania Democratic conservatives in the room. My father and brother have been in the House of Representatives for 24 and 22 years. Pro-life, pro-gun, pro-military, pro-First Amendment, pro-Second Amendment. My problem is my vote didn't get counted. I voted for Trump in 2016. I voted for him in 2020. I received this letter in the mail from Harrisburg saying that my vote did not get counted. And what concerns me...
Actually, I'd like to understand more about that. So how did that work?
I don't know.
Okay.
I work the polls. I've always worked the polls. I go for conservative Democrats. I go on a federal level for the Republicans. And like I said, I've always gone to the polls. So to find out that my vote has not been counted when I voted for Trump in both elections concerns me because my vote for my own brother didn't get counted as well. So I think that's happening to a lot of us.
There's no explanation?
There's no explanation. I mean, if I didn't get this letter, I would not have known that my vote wasn't counted. So I think that's happened to a lot of us because we are standing with Trump.
That seems really crazy.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it seems like
you could have it.
If they say it's not counted, they got to give a reason for that.
There's no reason. No one seems to even, when I call, they're like, we don't know. We don't know anything. I just work here. I'm like, oh.
Well, I think we definitely want to understand how widespread this is.
Yeah.
Definitely use the X platform to publicize anything that you think is an issue. If we just, we want to investigate anything that is that is messed up, and that sounds pretty messed up. At a minimum, they should tell you why your vote wasn't counted. I mean, was there something that you didn't fill out, or what?
Oh no, I went to the polls and I signed. I've done it for, 40 years now. So, yeah, it's strange, but I think I'm one of probably hundreds of thousands that has been silenced.
Well, I think it would be good to just count up like how many people are in your position. And for sure, that does seem messed up. Like the state should be required to tell you exactly why it wasn't counted, and so that you at least understand if there was an error in the form, there was something, because it wasn't just saying it wasn't counted with no explanation is totally unacceptable. So.
How you doing, Elon?
Good. How's it going?
My name's Logic. I'm a creative professional out of Pittsburgh. and I represent my people, my community, and some of the questions that we may have, and some of the insight that I have from me personally, being a single father here in this city, also making it through the changing circumstances of the economy as it becomes worse than I've ever known it to be. And the seriousness of this election, you know, me, I'm not one that really believes in voting myself. But I feel like I do not want to leave anything to happenstance in this election. And I know that we need to get somebody who's really going to be intelligent with their leadership. So, you know, there's a lot of things I would like to talk about, but I do have many ideas. I like what you're doing right now, and I commend you on putting yourself out here, you know, to make these changes and to take these risks that matter. My name is Logic, LHAGIC.com. You can find out more about me and what I do, and that's all I want to say.
All right, well, thank you. But please do everything you can to convince people to vote and to vote. All right, I'll do 2 more questions, and then I got to get back to see my kids. Honestly, that's where I'm going right after this. So
I'll make it really
just
fast.
want to get to see them before bedtime as well.
Thank you so much. This opportunity is way cool. Thank you very much. Emotional conversations often polarize into win-lose dynamics. And there's like an individual focus or thinking, where systems thinking, especially when it comes to the relationship system, suggests that there's unseen forces, possibly evolutionary, shaping how natural living systems like manage tension. How might AI help navigate these charged conversations, especially if it's built with the same blind spots we all have?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I think AI, it'll be vastly smarter than humans, and I think it probably will help. Like I said, it's 80% likely to be helpful, maybe 90. You know, I can certainly see it being very helpful with you know, medicine and helping people understand, get healthy and whatnot. But it's not a panacea. It'll you know, it is a double-edged sword. So I'm not sure I have a great answer to that, except we just need to pay close attention to AI and you know, ring the alarm bell if we see that it's going in a bad direction. Thank you. Last question.
Thank you, Elon. Thanks so much for being here. Thank you for your courage and for everything you've done for America. My question is pertaining to the voting machines this election. There are numerous features. This is an exhaustive, a switch feature, a multiplication feature. Been waiting to ask you this since 2020. Are you confident that this is a battle that can be won? Are there plans in place? Are there protections in place? Have you talked to President Trump about this with your technological proficiency and higher level of knowledge?
I think the best way to address this, you know, in any potential fraud, I don't know what's real and what's not real, but I've made my position clear that we should not have machines involved. We should have paper ballots in person with ID. That's the sure thing. And especially as we get to an AI future, because like I said, the AI could hack the voting machines, and then we wouldn't even know what's going on. We do not want voting machines connected to the internet or electronic in any way whatsoever. So can't say that enough. Now, with respect to this election, I think any sort of voting, you know, concerns that people have should be posted on the X platform and on every platform. You know, be very loud about it if any concerns, so that they can, like the brighter the light we shine on any voting issues, the less likely there is to be cheating. Then the other thing is to win by such a margin that even if there is cheating, the margin is so great that you beat the cheat. So with that, thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's been an honor speaking to you, and I enjoyed the questions. And let's just go ultra hardcore. Remember, only have it tomorrow to get people. So please think you've got a goal. Get people registered by midnight tomorrow. Thank you.